Alrighty, so good morning. My name is William Chung. I am the founder of CoreTradingConcepts.com and also the author of A Guide to Core Trading Concepts. Um, just to put a few things of housekeeping nature up on the table at this moment, just wanted to answer a question that was referring to my trading video. The question was asked, why don't I just trade the futures or the E-minis rather than the ETF stock equivalents such as the SPYs or the IWMs, which is the S&P 500 and the Russell 2000. So to clarify and to ensure that everybody's on the same page, the purpose of these videos is to display the thinking process behind evaluating the strength and the weakness while in a trade by reading the signals the stock provides. This method addresses the most important factor of trading, which is capital preservation, by minimizing risk while maximizing reward. Note that while you're watching this core methodology, understand that I'm trading ultra conservatively and not even at a fraction of what I would normally add to a position. Hence, I'm only using 100 share base lots rather than my regular 500 share base lots. I simply don't want to overwhelm you with my aggressiveness in a real trading environment for this educational purpose of the video. These videos are intended exclusively for educational purpose to assist traders to understand the thinking and management process behind each trade. These videos are about being consistent and trading with an edge. So with that much said, the IWMs, or the Russell 2000s, are currently in the position to open about equal. I think these labels here for last price might be wrong. But nonetheless, the Spiders is gapping up, or the symbol SPY, which may be a more dominant ETF or major market indice. So my intention at this point in time with the IWMs opening about equal to what the current market environment is while the Spiders gap up is I'm going to consider shorting the IWMs if it comes into, let's say, a little bit of a higher into this range here on the 15-minute chart and see where we go with it. I think that there's a little bit of weakness in the IWMs today, but we'll have to play that one step at a time. And if we have to turn around and reverse our position so we go in the opposite direction, that'll be fine as well. But we'll let the market decide how we're going to trade this symbol today. As you can already see, I already have my regular trusty time and sales window here, my level 2 window, 2-minute chart over here. This one here is going to be my 5-minute chart. Over here is my 15-minute chart. And the bottom left corner is going to be my hourly chart. Same as the previous videos, this top right area here is going to display my profit and loss or my positions. And slightly below it on the right side is going to be my execution window. So as you can see, the national best bid and offer is at the 07s by 09s. And we see a pre-market execution around this range here, which is around 11. Looks like it's dipping down a little bit down to the 05s. And we'll try to enter a trade and manage it accordingly. So the market should open up in the next few seconds, and we'll certainly try to capitalize on any type of movement, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, while we manage our risk. Alrighty. This little gap down here, okay, looks like there's going to be a little bit of a change in the environment. Potentially a little change. It's a little when the market opens at the same price or close to the same price of the previous day's close. It's usually a little bit more difficult to try to get a flavor for the direction, whether to the upside or the downside. So we may need to wait a little while just to get a good feel and for the direction or potential trade and how we can manage it. Um, as stipulated in the previous videos, these bland colored yellow lines are going to be areas of support and resistance. And of course, the green dotted line represents the prior day's closing price. Alrighty, so the market should start trading any second now, and we'll see what we can conclude what in the first few minutes. We may have to wait a little while to get a better feel. Alrighty, so now the market's open. Alright, so a hard red bar. That looks like we don't have much information, but as you can see over here, it looks a little bit aggressive. So we'll consider taking a short position if the trade goes below this area here, around this area here. Actually, maybe I should have put a line over on this one. Let's put a line here to give us a little bit of indication of a potential area of support. Alrighty, so we have a little show of strength there, moving up. On the 2-minute chart, it's clearly magnified or zoomed in a little bit. So these type of movements might look perhaps a little bit exaggerated, comparatively speaking, to other charts, but we'll take it into context. As you can see on the 15-minute chart, just a tiny little bar, and how it compares to the rest of them. So it's nothing to get too terribly excited when you're looking at the 2-minute chart that's zoomed in. That seems to be very, very aggressive. Same thing with the 5-minute chart. Everything always needs to be in context. And hopefully there's not going to be any type of overreaction to anything that may or may not take place based on the higher time frames. Alrighty, I think we're going to need to zoom into the 15-minute chart a little bit. It's a little bit difficult to see this bar and when it comes down here. On the other side, it is spending a little bit of time below this prior day's close area. It's not showing too much strength, so I'm beginning to have a little bit of a bias that if the price moves higher, there's enough weakness that it'll just be a sporadic move up to the upside, and I'll consider taking a short position on this if it goes into slightly over this area, the 20s, the high of this bar here. I'll begin looking for a short entry. And of course, if I do take a short entry into this area here, I'd like to ride it down to close to the lows of the day, or at least into this area, perhaps into this area of support. Okay, so we do have a little bit of strength showing here. It's actually popped up a little bit. Looks like it's going to challenge this area here. So I'm going to prepare myself to take a short position, and if that short position does not work out, I'm going to be quick to close this trade to minimize risk, and we'll make determinations as we see them. Alrighty, so we have a little bit of strength here. Green, 27s, We're looking for a little bit of weakness, a little bit of red going through the time and sales. And there we go. So let's take a one lot short. Okay, we're looking for a little bit more weakness, and we can add more to that position. All right, so let's add two more lots to that. As you can see, my average price is in the 20s, last price is 18, and I'm currently up roughly about 5 cents. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to evaluate it if the price comes down to the lows. Maybe we need to get out of, take some profits off the table, albeit it's not very much at this moment, but we'll have to evaluate it one step at a time and hopefully we can get it down to this area of support. Okay, looking a little bit slow. I'm not sure 100% if, or not too terribly convinced about the downside move. I think I'm going to, it's coming into the lows now, so I'm going to take 2 lots off, bank a little bit of the money. We'll notice that there's some tails over here, a little bit of strength perhaps, and we might even take this off and consider going long if it's necessary. Alrighty, so back above the highs, let's get out of this trade. And we'll reevaluate. Maybe we need to take it above the high of this bar here. If the price comes back down into these tail area, we'll have to consider this to potentially be a stronger trade or a stronger move. But we'll have to keep an eye. Maybe we'll have to buy if it goes into this tail and we see a little reversal to the upside. Alrighty, looking fairly sideways here. I think the bottom is pretty clear at this very moment. Top, we don't know whether or not this is a new ceiling or going to be the ceiling. And of course, a little bit of move up to the upside on this bar here. Alrighty, so if price maintains itself, can't break these lows, I think I'm going to change my bias a little bit and evaluate whether or not I can take a trade going into this lower area here without breaking the lows. I might need to be a little bit more aggressive here and take the position, exit if it gets too dangerous or starts eroding away the profits. But if it continues to show a little bit of strength, I will admit though, these stopping tails are awfully long. So there is a degree, higher risk perhaps, of me trying to take the bottoms or pick a bottom here. One of the rationale behind it is that the spiders gapped up today while the IWMs opened fairly neutral. Alright, so I'm going to look for the 04s, 02s, see if we get a little bit of green here inside the time and sales. Alright, there's a little bit of green. And I'll exit if it breaks the lows. Well, alright, it's time to add a little bit. Alrighty. So if it starts taking out a little bit of this bar here or goes into this bar here, I'll be adding a little bit more aggressively. My average price is currently the 08s, as you can see. So I might need to give this a little tiny bit of room, but as a whole, I think what I'll probably be doing is potentially scalping back and forth, back and forth. This is more difficult of a trading environment because it's somewhat directionless. Alrighty, so I'm going to get ready. Alright, so I'm going to thin out a little bit here. Take away 200 more shares with that red candle. Still not getting a whole bunch of convincing strength being showed here, being displayed here. I guess we'll have to see what happens if price does return to this area, and if this area does hold. Of course, what I'm referring to when I say lots of indecision is this doesn't seem to be scrolling through too terribly quickly with red or green, but if anything, more choppiness. Look, it lacks a little bit of consistency there, but we'll keep an eye on this. Alrighty, so we'll have to see if we can add to this as long as it doesn't break the lows. Alrighty, so we've just added 200 shares. We need this thing to go up. Average price is 08, last is 09, so there is a little bit of tolerance I gave this stock or this trade. All right, so we have a little bit of favorable move that's taking place here. We'll have to evaluate when the price comes up into this area here. And hopefully we can have a break to the upside. If we lose too much of this bar, we might need to lighten up our load a little bit. Although it's only 300 shares. Alrighty, so we have a tiny little break here. A little bit of retracement again. I think I'm going to need to let the stock breathe a little bit. I think I'm going to need to consider the 08s to be my out, simply because it's my average price, and maybe let it go 1 or 2 pennies down to maybe the 06s. Give it a little bit of consideration whether or not I can get this base area here, this bottom of the lows of the day are going to be strong enough to hold. And maybe the SPY will pull this stock up, or pull the IWMs up. Alrighty, so that's looking okay. Looks like we have a higher lows here, another higher low here. Alrighty, so a little bit of a higher high here, not very convincing or significant at this moment, but I like this higher low over here a little bit more. Alrighty, at this moment we got, this is a pre-market bar here, so this would be the opening bar. We got two candles gone green over here. Third candle looks like it might be green or perhaps red. We'll have to keep a close eye on it based on our average price at the 08s and higher highs up between these two candles, higher lows between these two candles over here. Getting a little bit of a bullish sentiment, and we'll have to keep an eye in case we have to get out at the 08s or maybe the 06s, take a small little tiny loss for that. If this bar turns green, I might consider adding to it. If it goes down to the 06s, I'll probably close out the whole position. All right, there we go. So I added 300 more shares to it. My new average price is the 10s or perhaps the 11s, as you can see up here. My realized profit is $42. My unrealized is 21. This is taking a little bit of shape, hoping that this red candle will turn green or move higher, breaking up these highs over here. Alrighty, so we're coming into potential, well, we're currently at around the break-even price now. We'll have to keep a really close eye on this, especially now that I am carrying a little bit more shares. All right, so that's a little bit more comforting. Alrighty. As you can see inside the 2-minute chart, most of the full bodies are above the prior day's closing area. So same with this area here, it seems to be maintaining itself over the highs. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more shares, 200 more, specifically with this green coming in. Oops, may have been a little bit early. And perhaps I should have added over the 16s. That would probably be ideal. Okay, so it's still looking fairly decent. Not too terribly decisive at this point in time. Alrighty, so the price is coming down to the 10s. I'm in an average price around the 11s. So if this thing goes down to, let's say, the 08s, I'm going to have to close this position. Or prints the 08s inside of time and sales. I may need to close this position and endure a tiny little loss of whatever, 13, 15 something dollars. All right, so that's a positive sign. If it goes over this bar here on the 2-minute chart, which is roughly about the 17s, perhaps I'll add. If it goes down to the 08s, prints the 08s inside the time and sales, I'll have to exit the trade with a small loss. Oh, here we go. So let's add 2 more lots. And we'll keep an eye on this movement here. And it's coming up to 10 o'clock, so there's going to be news coming out soon. And we'll keep an eye on how we're going to manage this. Usually it's about 3 minutes to 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes before news actually impacts it. And this is a nice little move here. And we'll take off maybe a few shares if it comes back up to the top. Alrighty, so I want to be cautious when it comes, as you can see that in this time and sales window, it's currently 9:51. I need to be cautious going into the 10 o'clock potential reversal time. And I'm going to need to protect that position because we don't know what the news is going to bring and how it's going to impact the specific market, or in this case here, the IWMs. And so I'm going to hold off on adding, if anything. I'm going to perhaps be a little bit more conservative and see if I can take off maybe a few hundred shares off if it hits the top here. As you can see, my current unrealized is 121.90 or 112 at this moment. My realized is 42 and my net profit currently is 155. Alrighty. So my focus is more so on the time of what's taking place because I want to protect the position. Oh, very nice. I want to protect the position going into 10 o'clock. We don't know what the sentiment of the news is going to be. Alrighty. So we're at. Alrighty. So rather than taking anything off at the top because I was talking too much, this is actually quite bullish what we're seeing here. Higher lows all the way through, higher lows over here, going into the 10 o'clock reversal time. We're going to have to keep a close eye on this, and we're going to have to put a line in the sand to decide if the stock starts retracing, when are we going to get out, as opposed to the top, when are we going to take profits. So it's a little bit of a different agenda, but it's the versatility of knowing what to do or how to do it, which makes it a lot more fun, especially when you're in the profit zone. As you can see here, my unrealized profit is currently at 232. We're roughly about 24 minutes into the trading day, and perhaps it's fair to say if the price goes below the 30s here, we'll start thinning out and taking some shares off the table. But we'll have to evaluate that as the market provides us with opportunity. All right. So it's roughly about 5 minutes before any type of economic news comes out. So if the price comes down, if the 40s print into the time and sales, call it the 43s print into the time and sales, I'm going to exit some of my position here. Okay, so there's a 43. I just exited 4 lots or 400 shares. If it comes back to the 43s again, I'll exit 200 more shares. Oh, I guess I got the 41s on that instead. Alrighty, so 43s again. I'm going to take off 200 more. 39. I'm going to exit. Nope. Oh, wait one more second here. All right, so if it goes down to the 41s, the bid, if it prints the 41s, I'm going to exit another. Maybe I'll actually just go flat. This is getting awfully close to the potential news release and reversal time. There we go. So I'm now flat. So we've basically been trading for 26 minutes. My total realized profit is $334 for half an hour's work or 26 minutes work. Not bad. I could potentially short this, but at this moment in time, we're seeing fairly good amount of strength in here. If anything, I would be more attracted to looking for a reversal. If this thing comes down, say around the halfway mark area, around the 25s or so, I might consider going long. But at this moment, for half an hour work for $334, it's a pretty nice day. Nice way to start the day. And of course, I'd like to keep these videos short before they get too droning, before they come across as being purely droning. However, I may continue trading for the rest of the day. Alrighty, so it looks like it's coming down a little bit. I don't know whether or not it's actually going to come down to around the 30s. I might actually take an entry on this. Let's just watch this for a second. Still coming up to news time. Still 2 more minutes before news. And we'll see how that impacts the price of this stock or this ETF. Awkwardly, this might look bullish. My concern is this 10 o'clock reversal time that's about to take place. And this wasn't very much of a retracement as a whole. It still is very bullish, just not very attractive. If there's any consideration at all, I may consider taking it over the highs. If the sentiment of the news makes it propels the IWMs or the Russell 2000 higher, I might take it over the highs. Right this moment, going into 1 minute before the news release, this is a higher risk area to try to get involved with. Although it does seem a good retracement or a decent retracement would be around the 30s. And not a whole bunch lower. It could go potentially down to maybe the top of this tail and call that a area of minor support. But we'll see what the news brings and how this plays out. Okay, so this is interesting. Um, I would have thought that the price would have come down to about the 30s area here. Um, but clearly it seems like it's showing a little bit of strength in going into this area here. It's holding on to it. As you can see on the 2-minute chart, it's holding these lows. So it's very difficult to, actually it's becoming fairly attractive to take this trade right here, right now, if continued strength is being displayed. All right, so that's attractive. Whoops, a little bit of red coming in, just as I was just about to enter this trade. All right, so we'll give this a minute and see what happens. This bar is all, which was once attractive, is clearly not so attractive at this moment. Alrighty, so it's down to the 30s. We should be looking for some form of an entry, maybe a little bit of vote of confidence inside at the time of sales. I don't know if I'm actually seeing a whole bunch of confidence in this area right now. Alrighty, so I'm convinced that if I'm going to take an entry anywhere, any long entry, I think I'm going to want to wait to see if it breaks over the high of the day. The way it's currently moving, it might be attractive. I just don't feel, I don't suspect that there's a whole bunch of momentum at this moment to go higher, which makes this bar here, as attractive as it was or is, a little bit difficult to see it moving higher. It just doesn't seem to be enough buying power taking place, especially in light of these tails here. Alrighty, not a whole bunch of, that's a lot of red going through the time and sales area. I don't, I'm not detecting very much strength taking place to the upside. Although there might be, it's certainly unclear at this moment. The direction of the stock is beginning to look a little bit sideways, even though there is a little bit of a downslope. If we were to draw a line across the highs, there is a sense that it is coming downwards a little bit. Bigger time frame picture on the 15-minute chart, it's clearly an uptrend. However, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 bars already up on the 15-minute chart. Hourly chart is already clearly an uptrend. But smaller time frame chart, just not a lot of strength being displayed here. Of course, everything is about capital preservation, minimizing risk, maximizing reward. So we'll have to ensure that we don't let too much of this realized profit, 334, erode away. If we want to take any more trades, some people might consider 10% a lot. I think 10% is at the $334 level is it's fair to put 10% of it on the table, or risk 10% if we're going to continue trading. On the 5-minute chart, note that how we have pretty much equal highs here. Awkwardly, the full body of this one here is all the way down here, as opposed to matching the rest of the full bodies. A little tiny bit bearish on the smaller time frame. 15-minute chart, we have a couple of tails at the top here. However, it is a larger time frame, so it's hard to use that as a bias and justify it. It's not that big of a tail on the 15-minute chart. It's almost non-existent on the hourly chart, but we'll keep an eye on this. Alrighty, so this is beginning to look a little bit more on the sideways side than it is even to the downside, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. Yeah, we're not getting very much conviction here. Neither to the upside nor to the downside. Alright, so this is quite, whoops, this purple means that it's getting taken away really quickly. This is slightly, this bar here, the high of it is slightly, ever so slightly lower than this one here, perhaps by a penny or so. It's actually beginning to look a little bit attractive to play this to the downside into this area here. I know this will be only a scalp trade if I do initiate this type of a trade. But at this moment, I'm beginning to think that we could take advantage of a quick maybe 15-cent move, maybe 20-cent move or so. If this continues to persist, this little bit of downtrend on the lower time frame. However, just bear in mind, we want to play the higher time frame momentum, which is up. So this would be a counter trend play, not advisable. I simply like to take advantage of the opportunity if we continue to make lower highs and take advantage of that for a very, very short period of time. So this bar here is roughly around the 43s, 44, 43. Um, 43. So if the price comes back up What I'll do is I'm going to risk maximum 10% of my $334 of realized gain, and I'm going to short this down with a stop slightly above the 145, so perhaps a 147 level, 149 level. I'll get out in the event that there is an opportunity for us to take advantage of it. So we're waiting for the price to come up to the 140, 44, 43. So we're waiting for the price to come up to the 43, 44, maybe even 42 level. We'll add more shares to this, but this time we're going to scalp it and go short. Alternatively, we can always short it going underneath this range here, the bottom of these lows. We can also short it if it goes down. Alrighty, so this video is going much longer than I anticipated. I was thinking about being out of being done with the day. It's now 10:10. I think news has already taken its impact to the markets, and we have a little bit of a sideways, a little bit of down movement over here. I guess this could be argued a little bit on the upside, but I suspect we might see a little bit of a retracement before it starts moving back to the upside again. But we'll make that decision as it happens. Okay, I'm also seeing a little bit of weakness on this symbol SPY. So this might be an opportunity to short it. We're at the 41 by 42. I'm going to short it by 100 shares. I'll short it by 100 shares right now. And if it goes down to the 39s, maybe I'll add a little bit more. If it goes above the 47s, I'll kill this trade. There we go. So I'm now currently at 300 shares. Average price is the 39s. Current price is the 35s. I'm up unrealized $15. And this area here, the 30s, is going to be the first area that I'll start thinning out the position, maybe even close out the position for a quick, basically 9-cent move. Although I'd rather see it move further lower. Alrighty, so it's at the 30s. I should. Alrighty, so let's let this run just a tiny little bit. See if this can hold the tail or take out the tail. Alrighty, so this is a positive sign, seeing such a large block of shares on the inside ask, which is putting pressure onto the buyers at this moment. Alrighty, so that's looking quite good. I guess if it breaks the 30s, we're going to, well, maybe not. Alrighty, as I was saying, if it breaks the 30s, perhaps we'll add a couple hundred shares to it. Oh, there we go. So we're currently up at 500 shares. I think we'll play it down to this level here, which is roughly around the 20s area. We'll start taking position, some size off. What we needed to do is break below this area here, this tail, and negate the potential that there is going to be any type of minor support. All right, as you can see, my average price is at the 35s now, which is the top of this tail. It's challenging the low of this period or this area. And here we go. We've got a little bit of a break here. And obviously we're challenging this minor support area. We'd like to see I think this part here is going to be much more difficult for the price to pass through. But we'll have to evaluate it if price comes down there, which will be around the 20s. Alrighty, so it's down to the 22s at this moment. I'm going to take off. If it hits the 21s, I'll take off 300 shares. If the bid goes, if we see that there's a 21 there, so let's take off 300 shares. All right. So it looks like it's pushing down a little bit more. Whoops, going up a little bit. All right, so let's take off another 100 shares. Alrighty, so decision making time. If the price goes over the 22s or the 22s print inside the time it sales, I'm going to be done. Oh, there's the 22s and I'm done. Alrighty. Now, just a quick recap of what we're looking at. On the hourly chart, we do have the uptrend, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. So there's a little bit of a tiny bit of undecisiveness going on the hourly chart. Can't make multiple green bars in a row, or it doesn't seem like it. On the 15-minute chart, we do actually still have that uptrend taking place, and this is just a retracement period, potentially going to bounce off of the prior day's closing area. It doesn't seem like these areas, this first area on the 5-minute chart of minor support held. However, it does look like potentially that this area here of minor support, or area where there was a little bit of conflict, played a role here. On the larger time frames, it's certainly clearly looking like an uptrend with a little bit of retracement. On the lower time frame, this move down here is just a retracement for a counter trend play. 2-minute chart just simply looks sideways. There isn't very much to see over on the 2-minute chart. This might be the retracement to the back up to the upside, which is going to cause this to go, the 5-minute chart, to maintain its uptrend during its brief retracement period over here. And everything's looking, at this moment, still looking pretty positive. If we had follow through coming, well, there it is. Maybe not. If we had follow through of this bar continuing and breaking down below the lows of this bar here, challenging the rest of the progress that was made during the day, that would be interesting to consider a potential short bias, but perhaps even more so on the scalping side than it is the trend trading side. It's actually quite difficult to put a gauge or a finger on it at this moment. That's a pretty big tail which sort of gives that idea that it might continue with the greater time frame or the higher time frame momentum to continue going north or to the upside. Alrighty, so just looking at my other trading platform, looks like there might be a little bit of weakness taking place in the market. But I think we should conclude this video here. Looks like there might be a little bit of weakness in the SPY, which would make this attractive to continue shorting or take a short position in the IWMs. But regardless, we should end this video here. It's coming up to roughly about an hour now, and I'm sure everybody would like to soak up all this information that we provided today. With that much said, just a quick reminder. I've only used 4,000 shares today, basically made just shy of $400. I would normally be using, as you can see here, my quantity size here. My base lot size is 100 shares. If anything, I'm more accustomed when I'm doing my own trading, as opposed to this educational video, to use 500 share lots, which would certainly amplify not only the total number of shares that I would be trading, but also my P&L. But for the purpose of education, this is not intended to make a tremendous amount of money, but just keep everybody on the same page that this is something that could be practiced even with 10 shares as a standard lot size, or 50 shares, that reading the market in this fashion of tails and momentum and gauging the direction and the strength based on the level 2, the time and sales, the level 2, 2-minute chart, 5-minute charts, and how to evaluate all these different things taking place. Hopefully it was beneficial. Once again, please remember that the intention of these videos is strictly for educational purpose, to learn what the thinking process and the management process is behind each trade, in order to minimize risk and maximize reward and preserve capital. With that much said, my name is William Chung, founder of CoreTradingConcepts.com and author of A Guide to Core Trading Concepts. Everything that was discussed here today is available or is in print on my book, in my book, A Guide to Core Trading Concepts. And I certainly hope that it proves to be beneficial to your trading endeavors and your career. So we're going to end this video now, and we wish everybody well. Please visit us on our website and subscribe to our newsletter or read our blogs. And we look forward to working with you soon.